Manus AI is breaking the internet. So what I'm going to show you today is some of the new ways that Manus has been used lately. It's some really cool stuff. I'll also be running on some other stuff too, including some examples of what people have created and how they've created it and how you can use Manus. Now, if you don't have an invite code yet, check out the AI Profit Board. And we've actually got a SOP on exactly how to set up Open Manus, which is kind of like a localized version. Now, if you're not familiar what Manus is, then you can essentially connect Claude with a bunch of other APIs. I believe from what some people have said as well, it's jailbroken as well in some ways. And so this AI agent is really autonomous in the way that it creates stuff, right? So let me show you an example. So this is an example where someone said, create an interactive simulation visualization of the moon's current state and where it is relative to the Earth. It should be a 3D visualization with the option to turn the camera and the like, right? The Earth and the moon should have realistic textures, blah, blah, blah. And you can see this was created in one prompt. It's not like you're, for example, going back and forth between ChatGPT or anything like that. This was literally created in one single prompt. Now, when you see the output, it's absolutely wild. So let me show you the output here. This is the output of the moon. You can flip between it. It's like 3D. It works perfectly. And you can see it's got the current moon phase there as well. So you see the full moon and which part of the cycle, the lunar cycle, is up to, with the moon just gravitating around the Earth and the Earth spinning. And look at the chat right here. So one prompt, then we keep scrolling down, and there's no real back and forth. It just goes off and creates it basically perfectly. How wild is that? And then it's a visualization is permanently deployed here. Here's the features. Here's an overview of what we've done, etc. And it's deployed it like perfectly, basically. So if you haven't tested this out yet, you're definitely missing out. But if you need like an invite, if you're waiting for an invite or you're worrying, okay, like how do I get access to this? It's only in invitation mode only, right? So for example, if you actually sign up, I heard something crazy, 2 million people are on the waiting list. And if you want like a different version of this, you can actually use Open Manus. I have a full tutorial video on exactly how to set up, plus an SOP inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments and description. But essentially, you can see how powerful this is. This is not just good for creating random images of the moon floating around, which is super impressive, but also you can build so much more cool stuff with this. So if we go to get started, I'll show you what I've created in my login here. So for example, this is one of the other scary things. This is better and more powerful than any other virtual assistant I've ever hired. If we scroll through here, you can see this does way better research than ChatGPT, or more in-depth research than any virtual assistant or executive assistant I've hired. Bear in mind as well, I was quoted, I think, about $100,000 to get a really good virtual assistant or a really good executive assistant. Now I can just replace that Manus AI and it will do the job. It doesn't take weekends off. It can do multiple things at once. It's not going to complain about multitasking at the same time. And nothing, my friends, nothing drops off the to-do list because it can just get it all done right here. Then also, if we want to go back for like, where's the notes, etc., then we can scroll down to the previous example, right? So if we go in here, this is a website actually created in like one click using these autonomous AI agents. It was deployed, it was coded, it was created, it was all visualized using Manus AI. Absolutely wild stuff. And that is not the end of it, my friends. So I'm going to show you another example here. This is actually a Pokemon store that someone created, right? So let me pull this up for you. Someone said, can you please build me a fully functioning website to sell Pokemon cards on? I would like to be like this site, right? And they've asked for a clone of a site, I believe. Something like that. It's gone off, it's coded it, it's created it. You can see it working. This is in real time. This is way faster than real time. Honestly, it's going to take you about, I would say, anywhere between 10 minutes and 30 minutes to create something like this. But once it's done, it's some of the best stuff we've ever seen, right? So if we pull this up, it's running through the to-do list, it's creating everything, it's coding it all. And then the output is absolutely insane. For example, if we pull this up, let me show you the output here. So this is the website that was created at the end. We're just going to skip to results. All right. And if we scroll down and skip to the results right here, where is it now? Let's find this deployed website. Here we go. That's the result. And see, this is the website that's created. If we click on this, for example, it's created a full e-commerce store with tons of different products. right? So these are all different products. It's got the pricing, it's got the rarity rating on the Pokemon card, nice little set of reviews there, pricing. You can add stuff to the cart. So if I click on add cart, you can see I've added one actually earlier today. We've got a little shiny Charizard sitting in the cart right there. So if you're in the e-commerce space, this is going to disrupt everything for you. Honestly, I don't know how many people watching this have an e-commerce store, but previously we'd spend like a whole weekend setting up Shopify, messing around with that, creating different things. And now you've got a whole e-commerce store set up in one single click. The blog post doesn't seem to work, but you have got like an opt-in. It's created all the footer and everything as well. And then, yeah, full navigation bar as well. So it's absolutely wild. And then if you go to checkout, we've got the pricing. And it doesn't stop there. We've got more to show you, but I just wanted to crack straight into that. So next up, what I'm going to show you is a game that was created called Missile Command. I'm just going to mute this. It does actually have sound on the game. I don't want to play the sound during a live stream because it's not going to sound very good. But for example, if we have a look at the prompt for this, let me pull it up for you. In fact, I haven't got the prompts. I don't think I've got the original chat for this, but this is basically a game that was created. You can see it's hosted on Manus Space. That's how you know this was created with Manus Space, right? Now, I know a lot of people are saying, for example, Manus is just like a wrapper of Claude or ChatGPT, and it's just linked to 29 different tools, so it's not that special. But bear in mind, if you ask ChatGPT or you ask Claude to create something like this, all it's going to do is give you a plan, and maybe if you're lucky, Claude will deploy it. But ChatGPT is not going to deploy this for you. It's not going to code it off for you, and you're going to be going back and forth with lots of errors for ages and ages. Whereas, for example, if we're looking at that website we built previously, the Pokemon cards one, how many times have we gone back and forth inside the chat here? Like maybe once, twice? That's it. Pretty wild. Same, for example, with this interactive 3D moon Earth simulation that you've got here, right? That actually works perfectly. If you have a look at this, the only time someone's gone back and forth in the chat there is like once. That's it, literally once. You can see how much more autonomous this is. You literally just, you give it the prompt, it goes off, it creates it, and before you know it, you've got this bad boy set up right here. So this is called Missile Command. It says, defend your cities from incoming missiles, use the mouse to aim and click and fire, press P to pause, all right? We've got the instructions right there. It's kind of like an old school game. Imagine if you were coding a Mega Drive game in the back, right? How long would this take to create? Like back in the day, if you were back in the 80s and you got this massive games company like Sony, who were the only ones who were able to invest resources into creating games like this. And then you got like maybe 10, 20 developers all building it out, testing out for months, and then finally you launch it, right? That was what it was like back in the day. Now, everything has changed because it's just you and your brain and your ideas. And you're like, okay, let's take that idea from my brain and plug it into Manus. Now, one of the other things that I would say here is you look at the definition of power. The definition of power is the speed between your idea and action, right? So, for example, on an extreme side of things, like if you were looking at a god would be able to just literally create something as soon as it thinks about it, right? Whatever religion you are. But with Manus, you've basically got one idea and then you create something as soon as you have that idea, right? And that's the difference. And you can see this game works basically perfectly, right? We're not playing games here. We are playing games, but you get the point. We can play with this 3D animation. It works perfectly. I'm actually talking to you whilst playing it. I can press P to pause it if I just want to pause it and then switch over to the camera and talk to you. But that's pretty impressive. Like, I know a lot of people hate on the self-playing snake game and that sort of thing, but this is genuinely creating something of value that people would genuinely play. When I was back in school, I'd play worse games than this on whatever it was, like all these flash games that used to come out back in the day. So the power of this stuff is absolutely unbelievable. And this is just working perfectly. Now, if you wanted to create something that's more 3D, for example, a 3JS game, I'm going to pause this. You don't want to lose your progress on the game, mate. Let's press P to pause that. And then if we go back to the chats over here, I actually got a bunch of things that I've created in the past, right? And one of them, if we go into the AI Profit Boardroom, SOPs, and then you can see my creations I've actually made here. So we've actually created this fantasy game example. And this one is kind of like a 3JS game, right? So we can basically move around, right? It looks like a post box. It doesn't look like much of a character. I didn't go back and forth much in the chat, but you get the point. Like I could just go around the forest. We can zoom in, we can zoom out. We can see what's popping. zoom right in with that geezer right there. It's a little bit too close for my liking. And then we can go through the forest, or we can go through the castle, and it is deployed on a Manus subdomain as well. So that's the other thing here is like, this is being hosted on a Manus subdomain, which is pretty cool because like, how much would you pay to get a website hosted? Probably, I would say minimum you're going to be paying is $7, probably going to be more like $10, something like that. So you get the point. Like, it's absolutely awesome. One thing I will say that has been a little bit annoying with Manus today, because I wanted to show you some more cool stuff, was that I only seem to be able to create one thing at once, right? So, for example, I actually went into the chat here, asked it to create something, and it said you have reached the maximum daily usage limit. And I only created like one thing today. That was it. So just something to bear in mind there is like, it seems like we can only create one thing at once. And also sometimes when you deploy applications, so for example, this is an application right here, and the front end and the back end is deployed, but it's only deployed temporarily. That's not hosted on a permanent subdomain. And the way that you can tell that is if it's manus.computer or manus.space. If it's manus.computer, that is just an app that's hosted temporarily. If it's manus.space, like for example this, then it's hosted permanently on that subdomain, right? Which means that you can come back to it, you can bookmark it, you can play around with it, etc. Now, the other thing about this is that we've built money-making websites using this process. So for example, if I type in AI Profit Boardroom inside here, I actually created this website using Manus and literally just gave it some information about me. It did most of the research because it's connected to the web, like you can see. And it's pretty nicely designed, looks good. It links directly to our funnels, like you can see. And it is a money-making website designed to convert, nicely built, hosted it on Netlify. Actually did that during a live stream, I think. And then you can see within less than 24 hours, this was ranking number 2 for our target keyword. It was only outranked by the main membership community, like you can see right here, which makes sense because that's where everyone is. By the way, if you haven't joined, you are missing out. There is so much stuff in it. But you get the point. There's all this stuff you can build, like 3D Earth moon visualizations. You got a medieval castle game built right there. We have a Pokemon website ready to go, all set up there. We have a working e-commerce site, and we also have a missile game that actually works and looks pretty cool. That's fairly complex, let's be honest. Now, if you want to see more creations like this, Twitter is a really good place to go. But also, if we go over to Manus, if we type in site:/manus.space inside Google, and we search that, we can actually see all the previous creations. I don't think every single one of them is indexed, but you get the point. There's all these different cool things that have been created and hosted, right? So for example, this is like an IBIT ETF overview, nice little dashboard, right? This was created with Manus Space again, autonomously. Think about this, right? How much would you have paid for a team of SaaS developers like 2 years ago, right? Whereas, for example, now you can just create that and you don't need any people. And that's the scary thing here is jobs are being replaced. If you don't realize that already, jobs are seriously being replaced, and they're being replaced at like lightning speed. This is the worst AI is ever going to be, and it's seriously impressive already. So it's going to absolutely blow people away. I think when people truly realize what's out there and what you can do and how it can be built, etc. This is like a vibe coding SaaS software, it looks like. But yeah, someone's just built out a vibe coding SaaS software website. So obviously you got that SaaS dashboard right there. This seems to be like a portfolio for different games built with AI. So you can see here it says recently created with AI. Then we click on the information about the game, and then we can, this is by Alex Finn actually. Shout out to Alex Finn. He's killing it on Twitter, I think. Yeah, shout out to him. And you can see it just is a portfolio of everything that's created. Let's have a look. So someone also cloned the Apple Store, which is pretty wild if you ask me. I don't know who did this, but it's full. That's pretty recent as well, because it's got the trailer for Severance out there. Shout out to my Severance watchers. I was watching that last night. And then we have a Transformer architecture website. All sorts of crazy stuff in there. Let's have a look what else we got here. So we got a React app built. That doesn't look very good, to be fair. I only want to show you the good stuff. I don't want to show you the bad stuff. Interactive middle school physics. Let's have a look here. So it's got like lesson plans, classroom activities. We can explore simulations. And it's created like all these different physics. We can pause the animation as well, create a whole web page out of it, and we're ready to go on that. The stuff that you can do is just unbelievable with Manus. And if you want to get access to this, I don't think it's available yet for everyone, but you can go to my video and I'll show you again how to create Open Manus in the future. But if you go to my video on the live stream here, actually, this is the wrong channel. Let me show you the real channel. Here we go. If you go to this channel and then go to the live stream here, there's actually a video on Open Manus, right? So if you want to see me set it up in real time, you can watch this video right here. It breaks it down exactly like how to set up Open Manus. And that's kind of like an alternative to Manus. Now, I'll be testing that out today and showing you how to set it up and everything else. And we'll be comparing them side by side. Honestly, do I think it's as good? Probably not. But if there's 2 million people on the waiting list, it might be a while before you get access to this stuff. So just bear that in mind. So thanks so much for watching. So far, we've covered what Manus is, some of its best creations, how powerful it is, how much better it is than ChatGPT, how scary it is, how it's replacing jobs, and all the cool stuff you can create with it that you can just check out by searching Google /manus.space. So if you want to get access to my SOP for setting up Open Manus, it's inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Just go to the SOP section, and then from there, you're going to go down to Open Manus on the left-hand side, full SOP and a video tutorial on exactly how to set that up. Additionally, if you want to jump on weekly calls with me about AI, you can jump on that right there. If you want to save hundreds of hours, make money with AI, then this is the best community. It's probably the best community I've ever created, I'll be honest with you. So it's really worth checking out. One of the best things I've ever done. And yeah, you can see all these different video tutorials right here as well. And if you want to get a free SEO strategy session, feel free to get that link in the comments and description. On this free SEO strategy session, we'll show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visits this month, generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot. On this free link building acceleration session, you get free SEO domination plan, discover the secrets of SEO link building, answer any questions you have. And this is all custom tailored to you, your business, your website, your situation, right? This is not generic stuff. Like when you jump on this call, it's all applied to you, your business, and everything else. So feel free to get that link in the comments and the description.